What's up, Bulls Nation? It's the Bloody Horns podcast. I'm your host, Justin. Today is going to be a lot more rational than yesterday. If you guys watched yesterday's video, I was kind of out of sorts. I was a little irrational. I was a little unhinged. I was talking about LeBron James is going to be a Chicago Bull. If you haven't checked out that video, go back in the archives, check it out. Today, I'm going to be a little more sane, a little more rational. Let's talk about DeMar DeRozan. Are we witnessing the end of the DeMar DeRozan era, the final days of DeMar DeRozan as a Chicago Bull? You saw the report come out the other day that the Miami Heat, the New York Knicks, and the Philadelphia 76ers have interest in DeMar DeRozan. And that's not surprising. You know, DeMar DeRozan, future NBA Hall of Famer, should be an all-star this year. Has been an all-star the last 2 years. All-NBA second team 2 years ago. He's been great. His Chicago Bulls tenure has been great. I'm on the record as saying his first year here, the 21-22 season, is the greatest individual season this franchise has seen since Derrick Rose MVP season, and I stand on that. So DeMar DeRozan, of course, there's trade interest in him. Now, when it comes to these three teams, you know, the trade the Miami Heat did yesterday probably takes them out of contention. Not that they don't have anything left to trade. They really didn't give up much. They gave up Kyle Lowry's contract and a 2027 first for Terry Rozier. They could still do like Duncan Robinson and a protected pick. They got some contracts they could move around still, draft picks they can move around still, but I don't see the Miami Heat wanting to bring in two big-name guys mid-season to disrupt their culture like that. They're already going to struggle to integrate Terry Rozier into what they're doing mid-season. I don't see them trying to add DeMar DeRozan into that mix, so they're out of it for me. Now you get to the next two teams. The New York Knicks, they're kind of in a similar situation where they already made their big splash trade with OG Anunoby. The difference is the Knicks have the expiring contract of Evan Fournier, and that would just be a waste of assets to let him expire and walk away. I believe his deal is $18 million. They have some picks they can throw around. I still believe they're owed a Detroit pick, Wizards pick, maybe a Mavericks pick in there. They got picks they can move. There's different protections on those, so who knows exactly what those are going to turn into, but it would kind of be front office malpractice to just let the Evan Fournier contract expire, and not because he's a good player, he hasn't been in their rotation in years, but just because it's such a big number and you could attach draft picks to it to bring in a player like a DeMar DeRozan. So they already brought in OG Anunoby. You watch the New York Knicks though, and I don't know if DeMar DeRozan really fits in there, especially with Julius Randle. You know, I saw somebody asking if Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson are a top 5 duo in the NBA, and I was thinking about it. I don't have them in the top 5, but they're definitely in that conversation. They're both playing really good right now. Julius Randle and DeMar DeRozan, they get their offense from the same spot though. They're both ball dominant, mostly mid-range guys. I don't see the fit with those two together. So if I was the Knicks, I'd be targeting more of a Zach LaVine than I would a DeMar DeRozan, a 3-level scorer. Zach LaVine's really the only one on the market. The Knicks, they do have the contracts to make it happen, but Zach LaVine's agency does not get along with the Knicks front office, so that's probably not going to happen. So that leaves the Philadelphia 76ers. And this is one I actually think could happen. The Sixers could do it without really sacrificing anything on their team. You know, Joel Embiid has been an MVP candidate this year. I have Shea as the #1 candidate right now. That's more because he plays every game. Embiid, you know, he's already missed so many games this year, he might not even qualify for it with the new 65-game rule. And Shea, I don't know, I like Shea's game a lot better. So Joel Embiid, though, that 70-point game the other day, that was crazy. Tyrese Maxey's playing at a high level. Kelly Oubre has been really good for them. Tobias Harris has been much better for them. Nick Batum's come in, he's gave them quality minutes, and they still, so you got those guys. They could keep all those guys and just add to their team with DeMar DeRozan. They could easily do the Morris contract, the Covington contract, and one of those draft picks they got. And for the Bulls, when you look at the DeMar DeRozan, I don't know if we should call it a DeMar DeRozan sweepstakes because we haven't seen a lot of bidders or a lot of rumors coming out there for DeMar DeRozan, but when you look at the landscape of what you could give for DeMar DeRozan, that Clippers pick from the Philadelphia 76ers, that could be the #1 asset in league-wide that you could get for DeMar DeRozan. I believe that pick is a 2028 unprotected. It's 2028 or 2029. One of those two, but it's unprotected. Their guys are going to be gone by then. You know, Kawhi Leonard, he's going to disappear. We're never going to see that guy again. Paul George, maybe he's around still doing his podcast, but he won't be playing quality hoops anymore. James Harden, he'll probably be running a strip club by the year 2028. And Russell Westbrook, who knows what that guy's going to be doing. So those guys will be long gone. on. The Clippers, you know, since Ballmer took over, they've shown a propensity to spend money and bring names in, but this is still the Clippers we're talking about, man. We don't know if people actually are going to want to sign there. We don't know if their new arena is going to do for them what they think is going to do. So I would love to have an unprotected future Clipper pick in the asset stash if I was the Chicago Bulls. You know, when you think of Morris, he's been washed for a couple of years. When you think of Robert Covington, he's always been overrated in my eyes, always been an overpaid guy in my eyes, but you could still get their contracts. Both of them are expiring. You're clearing cap space. You're opening up more minutes for Patrick Williams, and you're adding what I think is the number one asset that we could realistically attain for DeMar DeRozan. So if I'm the Chicago Bulls and I decide it's time to move DeMar DeRozan, as you guys know, I'm on the record. I think they need to make something happen this trade deadline. As much as I love DeMar DeRozan, I'm the number one DeMar DeRozan stan probably on Twitter. As much as I love him, the Bulls need to make something happen. My love of the Bulls outweighs my love of DeMar DeRozan. So they need to make something happen. They need to move one of these three. I don't see a trade market for Vooch. I don't see a trade market for Levine, especially with this new ankle injury. So if I was Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley, I'd be hammering the Philadelphia 76ers, trying to tell them, look, man, Milwaukee's in flux. They're bringing in a new coach mid-season. The Celtics, their depth is an issue. They do have Porzingis, who's injury prone. So Drew Holiday's getting older. Derek Williams, who knows if he's really going to show up like that in the playoffs. So if I'm the Bulls front office, I'm hammering the Sixers and I'm telling them, you guys should go all in this year. You add DeMar DeRozan to the mix, make a championship run. Who knows how many good years Joel Embiid has before his body gives out on him. So that's my opinion. The Bulls should be targeting the Philadelphia 76ers trade for DeMar DeRozan. Sound off in the comments. Let me know what you guys think, where you feel like DeMar DeRozan should be moved if he gets moved. And if you don't think he gets moved, what should we do at the trade deadline there? Do you guys want to see us sit on our hands again for the third year in the row? Because I sure as fuck don't. But if you guys are not subscribed to the page, please hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to grow this page a little bit. If you're not following on social media, the handle's the same on all three platforms: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, @HornsBloody. Throw me a follow. Let's talk hoops. Bulls are back tomorrow against the LA Lakers. Let's go.